Yo! Chat! What it do? Chapter 4. Let's get into it. Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind, the third step to riches. Autosuggestion is a term that applies to all suggestions and all self-administrated stimuli that reaches one mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between the part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts, one permits to remain in the conscious mind, whether these thoughts be negative or positive is immaterial. The principle of autosuggestion voluntarily reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. Note that, whether it is negative or positive, can enter the subconscious mind without the aid of the principle of autosuggestion. With the exception of thoughts picking up from the ether, stated differently, all these impressions which are perceived through the five senses are stopped by the conscious thinking mind and may be either passed on to the subconscious mind or rejected at will. The conscious faculty serves, therefore, as an outer guard to the approach of the subconscious. Nature has so built us that we have absolutely control over the material which reaches our subconscious mind through our five senses. Although this is not meant to be constructed as a statement that we always exercise this control, in the great majority of instances we do not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what has been said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance of the seed of more desirable crops are not sown there. Autosuggestion is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed the subconscious mind thoughts of a creative nature, or by neglect permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. You were instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in chapter 2 to read to read out loud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money and to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the objective of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you voluntarily create through thought habits favorable to your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Go back to these 6 steps described in chapter 2 and read them again very carefully before you proceed further. Then when you come to it, and read very carefully the 4 instructions for the organizations of your mastermind group described in chapter 7. By comparing these 2 sets of instructions with that which have been stated on autosuggestion, you will see that the instructions involve the application of the principle of autosuggestion. Remember, therefore, when reading aloud the statement of your desire through which you are endeavoring to develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix emotions or feeling with your words. If you repeat 1,000,000 times the famous Amilco formula, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better, without mixing emotion and faith with your words, you will experience no desirable results. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts only upon thoughts that have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in particularly every chapter. The lack of understanding of this is the main reason the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words that have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try to do so. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. Ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind has its price, and you must pay that price. You cannot cheat, even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence in applying the principles described here. You cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You and you alone must describe whether or not the reward for which you are striving, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effect. Wisdom and clearness alone will not attract and retain money except in a few very rare instances where the law of averages favors the attraction of money through these sources. The method of attracting money described here does not depend upon the law of averages. Moreover, the method plays no favorites. It will work for one person as effectively as it will for another. Where failure is experienced is the individual, not the method which has failed. If you try and fail, make another effort and still another until you succeed. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate upon a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. When you begin to carry out the instructions in connection with the 6 steps described in the 2nd chapter, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principles of concentration. Let us here offer suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin to carry out the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire, hold your thoughts on that amount of money by concentration or fixation of attention with your eyes closed until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money. Do this at least once each day. As you go through these exercises, follow the instructions given in the chapter on faith and see yourself actually in possession of the money. Here is a most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given it in a spirit of absolute faith and acts upon those orders. Although the orders often have to be presented over and over again through repetition before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind, consider the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind by making it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing, that this money is already awaiting your claim, that the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money which is yours. Hand over this thought in your imagination and see what your imagination can or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money through transmutation of your desire. Do not wait for a defined plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing. Begin at once to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding and expecting meanwhile that your subconscious mind will hand over the plan or plans you need. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. They will probably flash into your mind through the 6 senses in the form of an inspiration. This inspiration may be considered a direct message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. In the 4th of the 6 steps, you were instructed to create a defined plan for carrying out your desire, and begin at once to put this plan into action. You should follow these instructions in the manner described in the preceding paragraph. Do not trust to your reason when creating your plan. Your reason is futile. Moreover, your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you. When visualizing the money you intend to accumulate with closed eyes, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. This is important. I think the big component of this is obviously the idea of putting it into your head around visualizing what X amount of money looks like for you in your future, or whatever your dream idea of riches could mean. And I find that to be very fascinating, because I wonder if it takes away from the ethics side of things. And I mean that because when you're visualizing, let's say, the cars or the houses or the jewelry or the clothes in your head, it encompasses that you reaching that, or you getting to that level of rich, is your desire, or is your final goal. And I think that's where I feel like is not where I align with what is being said here. I think you are not defined by the amount of money or the amount of possessions that you have, but the kind of character that you are. Well, what kind of person are you? Now, if you're someone that visualizes and riches in a different format, I'm in more in par with that, right? Like, if you're visualizing riches of life, riches of experiences, riches of values, that is something that I'd probably be a little bit more keen on when it comes to visualizing it twice a day, like it mentions. But to visualize the money aspect is very important. Is very interesting, and I'm not to say that I'm definitely one that's like, okay, I want to be in this position, with this kind of car, or with these amount of rental properties, having a good family. I visualize those stuff, but I wonder if there's a way for this to be communicated a little differently, in terms of, yes, you can visualize the things that you want, but at the end of the day, I think what's important is the kind of person that you are when you have those kind of possessions, or what kind of character, what kind of personality, what kind of values or principles are you building along the way when visualizing that stuff, or when you are to that stage of life. In the end, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm not agreeing with it. I think manifestation is very important, and I think that's the key message here. And it could be talked about later, right? This is just the start of this book. We're on chapter 4, Autosuggestion, but we'll see. I'll see you guys tomorrow.